Every week, we break down real estate investing with real deals, real numbers, and real strategies you can actually use.
And I'm learning right alongside you. We'll ask the questions beginners are afraid to ask and show you what it really takes to build wealth through real estate.
Whether you're buying your first property or your 50th, welcome to BrickFolio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited about this project. Welcome to the BrickFolio Podcast. My name is Daniel Anderson. I'm here with Brian Biernat. Say hello, Brian.
Hey, hello.
And so I've been involved with a lot of podcasts, and this one, it's truly remarkable how excited I am about this, and I'll tell you why. So this is a podcast unlike any other real estate podcast. All other real estate podcasts are, professionals, people that have, know what they're doing. They've been doing this for years and years and years. And there's never really an aspect of somebody that knows absolutely nothing, but has made a decision that they want to learn how to get money to work for them instead of having to work for money. And what this podcast is going to bring is this is going to bring a kind of like a childlike mentality with me. I know very little about real estate. I've watched a lot of podcasts. I've ingested a lot of content about real estate. And most importantly, I've surrounded myself with people that know what the heck they're talking about. I don't check any of those boxes that I know what I'm talking about. So I want the listener, I want you to really be able to say, "Oh, I see what this I see what Daniel's talking about here." And if somebody that has no idea what he's doing whatsoever, but is teachable and is curious, if he can do this, if he can be successful, maybe I can too. And the goal of this podcast is to help you grow, to help you learn how to make money work for you instead of being in this rat race of trying to work for our money. So I am super, super excited about this. And so there's that aspect. And then each week, Brian knows what he's talking about. He is a professional. He has been involved in the industry. He does know hundreds and hundreds of people in the industry. He has made lots of mistakes and learned from those mistakes. That's what makes him so valuable to me, is he understands what works and what doesn't work. And it's because he's made the mistakes, he's put the experience in, and now he's better for it as a result. So today we've got an incredible guest, Wendy Sweet. She is coming to us live from South Carolina.
Rock Hill, South Carolina.
And I met her a couple Thursdays ago at, was it Sun?
No, Dealmaker Jackson.
Dealmaker Jackson. And truly, I was blown away by what she had to say. She's just a powerhouse of information. And she talked to us a lot about AI at that meeting, and it really blew me away. It kind of confirmed what I already do and what I already see and use it as. But there were a lot of people there that really had no idea anything about AI. And Wendy was really able to fill in the gaps, I feel, for anybody that maybe didn't understand how powerful this tool was. So I'm excited to talk to her and see what she has to say today. But with that, I'm done with my chatting for right now. I'm going to send it over to Brian. Brian, welcome to the BrickFolio Podcast.
Daniel, great to be here. And I'm excited to introduce my good friend, Wendy Sweet. We often refer to her as the real estate therapist. You can meet with her Wednesday with Wendy, and we'll include some information on that later. But Wendy has been in the business a lot longer than I have. She's a hard money lender, first and foremost. She's done all kinds of deals, fix and flips, buy and hold, furnished rentals, short-term, mid-term. But her bread and butter is lending. Met Wendy in July of 2021. And it's kind of the funny story. So Amy and I had gotten a real estate.
Amy, your wife?
Amy, my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We got into real estate in 2017. We got into furnished rentals in 2019, and we had built a pretty good business by 2021. And we were vacillating on, at what point do I retire from my W-2?
Right.
And this was July 16th. And I had never met Wendy. And so a mutual friend of ours, Walter Wofford, had an event here in Jackson for short-term rentals.
Mhm.
And I just happened to be on the hot seat. We do these hot seat things, these
Yeah, I remember Randy was on it. It was fantastic.
so I was on the hot seat. My wife was next to me, and I had never really met Wendy until that day. And I was vacillating about leaving my job, and she pretty much just got up and said, "I'm calling BS on this. I'm throwing up the red flag here." And she pretty much told me to my face the truth with love that you need to quit your job. You're more than ready. And so anyway, with that, it kind of propelled us, and we have been very good friends since then. She has come to Dealmaker Jackson twice. I would say her and my wife and her and I have a pretty good bond. So without further ado, let's get Wendy on. My good friend Wendy Sweet from Rock Hill, South Carolina, with Carolina Capital.
Awesome! Wow, y'all make it so important.
We got to do this here. There it is.
There we go.
There it is. There she is. All right, take it away, Wendy.
You make me sound so important, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You are.
And Brian, if you'll recall, you volunteered to be in that hot seat.
I did.
And I don't know that you were the first one that day. I don't think you were the first one that day.
I was not the first.
So you saw what would happen.
I did. And I still volunteered.
Huevos, you got some.
It was really, that was a great day. And really what you did is you just did what you were thinking the whole time. You just needed confirmation on you were getting ready to do the right thing. You set a date of when you needed to leave the job.
Yep.
Because at that time you had so much going on in the short-term rental industry, and you were just hanging on to that job. You were needing that insurance. There were many reasons why you were hanging on to it, but it's that lifeline you didn't want to let go of. And as soon as you did that, your business exploded.
Yeah, there's really no explanation. You can't really put a number on the value. Well, what was I'm losing my word here. The opportunity cost of staying on the job was much greater than I ever realized. And our goal.
Explain that to me.
So when I'm in the office, working 12 hour, 10 hour days, let's say, and I'm in meetings and I got projects and calls, all the things that are going on outside of the office, real estate wise, I can't really partake in. So if a text comes in for a deal, an email, I don't really have time to get into it.
Yeah, I understand.
And I can look at stuff on my lunch hour, right? We would do that, and before work, after work, but the opportunities I was missing out on because
you were locked into
locked into my job, and my job was pretty demanding. I managed 3 different teams, and we have pretty good demanding, C-Spire is pretty demanding, schedule day to day. You just don't have the opportunity, right? And so, in my mind, I was thinking, well, I just need to save a little more money, do a little more of this. But once I left the job, I will tell you that, God just opened doors that I had no idea. So
do you feel would you say that God was kind of nudging you for some time before this actually happened, and it just...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I won't get into the total details, but let's just say sometimes God puts people in your life to move you faster in another direction, or to prompt you to make sure you go in that direction. And that happened early in 2020, right before COVID. And it was uncomfortable for me for quite a while. Probably a good year and a half. It was rough, but it was all part of the plan, right? Unbeknownst to me, it was all part of the plan. So
I love it.
Well, we hang on to a safety net all the time, and God wants us to trust Him.
That's right.
Not all the things around us. And it's, it's easy to hold on to what it's hard to let go and let God truly
it's easy to say.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
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 So that's what you did is you stepped out of the boat.
Yeah. I jumped out. I walked on the water, if you would, so to speak. And
Mhm.
but you got to keep your eyes on him because otherwise you'll sink,
Right.
right? As we saw. But I think the thing too is you have to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? That's probably one of the biggest things I would tell you as a newbie. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing. I've owned my own business. I do a bathtub, shower, and countertop
Yep.
refinishing. I've been doing that successfully for 23 years, and then I produce podcasts. I've been doing that for 5 years. So I am acutely aware of the good times, the bad times, and learning how to be okay with not being okay. And what that has done for me is that has forced me to build my faith because I left to my own devices, I can't handle it. I cannot handle it. But every morning, I get on my knees and I ask God, please direct my thinking, equip me for everything that I need to do, and your
Amen.
will, not mine, be done.
Yep.
Period. End of story. I don't ask him for anything. So I'm excited to take what I've learned with my other two businesses and apply that to real estate here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say, Wendy, as we kick off this podcast adventure that we're on together, maybe you could help Daniel a little bit, being a newbie. Offering your words of wisdom if you were to start over, like what, from your vantage point as a lender and everything you've done, what does he need to do? You know,
Yeah,
to
because
do it.
I literally have no idea
That's
what
right.
the lending looks like. Period. I have no like Randy was in here the other day and was like, "Look, money is number 12 on priority list. Like you don't have to worry about that. If you find the deal, the money will come." And that sounds really really great, but as somebody that has no idea what they're talking about, there is still a tremendous amount of fear like, "Okay, we find this deal. How exactly does this happen now? Do I go to a bank? Do I go to a private lender? Do I go to hard money? What is hard money?" Like I'm confused. Like it's scary, but it's one of those things that like, okay, this is something very, very important. So let's learn it. Let's bring people into our life that know exactly what the heck they're talking about. And Q and Wendy.
That is actually the number one question I get is I'd love to do this investing, but I don't have enough money in the bank, or how am I going to get this done financially? And my favorite thing to say is money is not your problem. It's not your problem. It's making sure you find a deal that works.
Right.
So let me talk a little bit about hard money, what it is and how it works. I'm going to give you my spiel that I give when people call to ask me about what hard money is. So
Yes, ma'am.
it's a short-term, high-interest loan that allows a real estate investor to buy a piece of property, also borrow the money to rehab it or construct it if it's new, based on the after repaired value of the property. So short term, meaning it's going to be anywhere from 3 to 12 months long. High interest rate means you're going to be looking at 10 to even 15% on an interest rate. You're going, woo, that's way high. Yeah, it is, but it's short term.
Right.
That's the point. So, and it's based on the after repaired value. So what we do is we take the list of repairs or the construction costs, whatever you're going to do. We give it to an appraiser and they do an appraisal based off of those items being completed. So they may come to us with an appraisal that, oh, this house fixed up is going to be $200,000 fixed up. Okay, great. So we lend up to 70% of what that after repaired value is. 70% is important. It's leaving you a 30% cushion, but I promise you that 30% cushion can shrink really quick.
I didn't know you could get an appraisal before the work was actually done. I thought the appraisal only came after the work was done.
No, you want the appraisal prior to any work being done.
Oh.
You need to make sure it's a deal in the first place.
Right.
Even when agents run comps for you, real estate agents will run comps for you. That's great, but what you really need is an appraisal.
Okay.
You really knowing what the after repaired value is the bottom line on what you're doing. It's the bottom line. You make your money on the buy, not the sale.
Right.
So you have to be in it at the right price. Now, 70% is the industry standard formula that everybody uses. 70% of the after repaired value. So what that means is if the appraisal comes in at 200,000, now I know 70% of that's 140,000. So I know that for this to be a good deal for me to flip this property, I need to be in it at $140,000. That 140 includes my rehab. So if it needs 40,000 in rehab, I only have $100,000 to purchase a house with.
Right.
right.
So here comes so you've got 70% of the loan, right? So you lend out 70% of the after repair value, right? So what about that other 30,000? $30,000 or however much it is. Do we have to come up with that money? And if so, how do we come up with that money if we don't have a ton of money?
You don't come up with that money. That's your profit that you're going to make when you sell the house. So if the after repaired value is 200,000, you're in the whole deal at about 140 when you purchase it with the rehab money. That means that you've got $60,000 left over as potential profit. Now, out of that 60,000 is probably going to come some payments, overages that you don't expect, real estate fees to agents that are going to list and sell it for you, their taxes, insurance, all kinds of the dumpster fees that sometimes people don't even put on the repair list. There's all kinds of things in there too that you don't expect. There's water damage in a wall that you didn't notice until you started repairing the baseboard at the bottom, or there might be termites in there. All of that, if it's not in your budget, guess whose pocket that comes out of? Comes out of the borrower's pocket, and it has to get fixed before the lender will release money for you to spend on the house. Because lenders look at everything as if we have to take it back tomorrow. So when we loan money, we're going to lend you the money to buy the house. Out of that 140, we're going to lend you that $100,000 to buy it. We're going to pay for that at the closing. And then we're going to keep that $40,000 in repairs in our account. Now, whether it's a real hard money company or a private lender, whoever it is you're dealing with, most of them will do that. Hold on to that money. Then as you complete the work is inspected. Sometimes it's a third-party service that inspects that work. As it's inspected, showing that it's that part of the money's complete, then we can release the money. That part of the work is complete, then we can release the money to you.
To fund those repairs.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
And one point that she made, that 70% number, like you got to stick to that. You got to stick to your guns.
It shrinks.
And it does shrink. And sometimes you want to build into that 140. Maybe you build in a $10,000 contingency. So maybe your rehab's only 30, but you keep 10,000 because let me tell you, things have come up and they always will. Now, sometimes it goes perfect, but sometimes we had a house that we were flipping. Wendy walked it, the Rutherford property, the first time she was here.
Mm-hmm.
We found a $13,000 plumbing issue underneath the slab that was not accounted for. So we did have some fluff in the budget. There's some overage there, but we had to come up with some extra on that as well. So that happens.
Okay.
So when people say, hey, you can get into this investing with no money out of your pocket, you don't need money in the bank, boy, are you setting yourself up for future problems by doing that. Because I rehab houses. I don't love doing it. I love it when it gets to picking out all the stuff that goes back in it. And putting furniture in it for short term or long or a midterm rental. I love that part. But the rehab part, I had a contractor text me this morning. There's a vanity that he's putting together and one of the doors are messed up. Now I have to go back and forth and get all that stuff. Those little things drive me crazy. Cause ain't nobody got time for that. But stuff like that happens all the time. We also, this same house that we're working on, once we took the sheetrock off the walls to install some new plumbing fixtures, we found that the wiring was old wiring. So we had to go in, that's $7,000 right there. I didn't ask for and didn't expect, but you have to do it. We had found carpenter ants in the attic. I had to treat for that. There's stuff like that that's going to pop up all the time, and I don't think I have ever, in my 26 years of rehabbing houses, I've never rehabbed one that came in under budget.
Oh,
Ever.
wow.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. And I've only been doing this for 9, so I would
So
definitely.
you need to have money. You need to have money. You're going to want to have extra money. There also, when you get to the
Like,
point where okay, you're
what about
done.
that? What about that first deal that you don't have money? Like, how? Like, you just saying, like, if you don't have money, don't do it, or like, help me understand, like, how
So
somebody.
tell me what you mean by no money.
Okay, so, like, say you have, I don't know, hypothetically, like $4,000 in the bank. You have like a 700 credit score. You don't have capital to put down on anything. Like,
Okay, that's a great example.
you just don't. So,
Great example. So if you've got a great credit score and you have $4,000 in the bank and you came to me for a loan, first of all, you wouldn't qualify, because I'm going to make sure that you have enough money in the bank to make at least 6 months worth of payments and enough money to get your contractor started, because a contractor is going to want 10, 20%, sometimes 50% up front to get started. So you're going to have some kind of money. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you is, are you going to any local meetups or real estate groups? Because, and if your answer is no, then I'm going to say, stop right there. Don't even try anything until you've spent at least 3 months going to different meetups and groups to learn about real estate. Because that means that you don't know enough to take care of all the things that are going to happen to you. So I always tell people, listen to podcasts like this. There are so many things you can find on Facebook, Facebook groups where people are teaching about real estate. There's all kinds of gurus that are teaching you about real estate. Rule number 1, don't buy anything. Not only don't buy the house, don't buy the courses. You don't have to. And all my friends who sell courses are going to be mad at me for saying this, but you need to do it after you've been in it for 3 months and you kind of know the direction of real estate that you want to go in. You need to educate yourself. The best thing you can invest in is yourself. And you can do it with no money out of your pocket. By going to these meetings and meetups, you might pay $20 to get in, or it might be a $200 a year membership to go to a RIA, or a Deal Maker is my favorite, and just incredibly great. It's so there's so much free information out there to get. You could spend a year learning and not even get enough. I've been doing this for 26 years. I learned something new every single day.
And Wendy, and when you go to these meetups, so Daniel, you've been to Dealmaker Jackson, energy, the level of expertise in the room, and I think she's going to go here, but I don't want to put words in her mouth, but find a mentor, find a partner to joint venture with. So maybe you have a deal and maybe you find somebody, or you have a partner, maybe he's got some money or she's got some money, and you split the deal, right? You work together. There's a saying in this business, 80%, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
That's exactly where I was going. When you go to these meetings, and it's great to do them online, but in person is even better. When you sit across the table from somebody or you break bread with somebody, you're really getting to know who they are. In this business, it's all about character and integrity. And it's really important that you learn that about other people. Use the discernment that God gave you. Look for people's fruit, look for their character, see what else they're doing, and let other people know what you're doing and what you're trying to do. There are people in these groups that, for no reason and not to get anything back out of it, will will say, oh, great, I need to introduce you to this person, and this person. And because their goal is to bring everybody up, bring this whole industry up, make it honest, make it helpful. We're building kingdoms. That's what we're doing.
Right.
And we want to do that with the utmost of integrity and truth and honesty and transparency. There's enough deals and business. There's enough to go around for everybody. Which, I'm a lender. Some of my best friends are lenders. They're my competitors, but they're my best friends too, because we're here to help each other. We do little mini masterminds together. So when you're going to these meetup groups that you're going to, number one, tell everybody what you're trying to do. Make sure you have something with your name and phone number and an email address so it's legible, so you can be giving that out to people and then collect that from other people. And then make sure that you start a dialogue. You have to be able to build a relationship. So once you've built that relationship, there are people out there that would be thrilled to lend you money and to support you as you're doing your first, your second, your third deal. Once you've done a couple, you'll be surprised at how much you'll learn off just doing the first two. You'll be good to go.
Yep. And Danny, you bring something kind of rare to the table. So you have some skills.
Oh yeah.
You have a tub refinishing business and you have a podcasting bit. So you have some things that you bring to the table immediately that might be very attractive to like myself, right? Like, hey, Daniel's got this. Okay. He needs help with this. Okay. Well, let's work together then. You're going to help me on this side and I'm going to help you with your first deal. And you know what? I have access to money, so that's how the world works.
Right.
Collaboration versus competition.
Yeah. I keep on hearing over and over and over again on these podcasts from people that I talk to, like David Sugg, like
good guy,
with you, with Randy,
another good guy.
Everybody says real estate is not about the actual properties. Real estate is about relationships.
Amen.
And
100%.
So, and I keep hearing like that's a reoccurring thing that I heard. So if I'm hearing it from everywhere, that's probably going to be true. And I feel really blessed that, over the past 23 years, I've had the opportunity to hone that skill and really fall on my face with that skill and learn from those mistakes. So I feel like I'm pretty well equipped, but again, I am acutely aware that I am going to make mistakes and I'm going to fall on my face. But that's where and maybe other people that are in my position should do this as well. Listen to people like Wendy, get involved, surround yourself with people that know what they're talking about. It's okay that we don't know. And I speak we as in people like me and me. It's okay that we don't know everything. It's okay that we don't have the answers, but we need to surround ourselves by people that do.
Just remember, it's okay to fail. Just learn from it.
Right.
And fail forward. Right. All of us have failed. We can go on offline or even online sometime and talk about things that in our business, mistakes that we made. In fact, I wouldn't even be associated with Wendy and some of the people if we had not done a deal that kind of led us in this, and we'll talk about it sometime, maybe on air, that got us to this group, right? And I look back and I go, well, was it really a mistake? Or did we just make the most of it, right?
Yeah, I feel 100% that nothing in God's world happens by accident.
That's right.
Period. End of story. And getting in the victim mentality, that is toxic, that's deadly, that is unsafe. So my stance truly is, okay, I clearly made a mistake. That's okay. First of all, be willing to have a conversation with myself that sounds something like this. Look, I know you messed up. Instead of beating up on yourself, I just want you to know that I love you. I'm proud of you. Let's get back up and let's keep moving forward. Being able to have that conversation with yourself is a game changer. So when I do make mistakes, when I do make mistakes, my first thought is not, oh, woe is me. I can't believe this is happening to me. My first response genuinely is, okay, God, I did this. What do I need to learn from this? How can I change? How can I mold? What do you want me to do? And what do you want me to learn from this? So I'm very excited about this process, 100%. And I know you're
It
going to fall on your
does.
face.
That's right. Anyway, keep going, Wendy. We don't want to
Yeah,
take
sorry
away
about
from
that,
you.
Wendy.
No worries. So the other thing about mistakes is don't be ashamed of them. Don't try to hide them, because they're a testimony. As I've made every mistake out there, I promise you. Well, I'm sure there's plenty more. I've made tons of mistakes. I don't hide them. I use them as training material for other people. I want you, just like when you're raising your kids, you try to direct your kids to not make the same mistakes you made.
Right.
And that's what you're trying to do. So as a lender, I love it when my borrowers tell me what went wrong on a previous deal and how they got out of it. I love seeing how they, grabbed their bootstraps, pulled themselves right back up again, and got out of it. Because there's that, they think on their feet. Now they know, okay, I got to think outside the box. That's, you brought up Walter Walford in the beginning. That was the person that was running the event that we met at, Brian. That man taught me how to think outside the box. Like, sometimes his ideas were just so crazy. I remember some of the first times I heard him talk about, thinking outside the box. I was like, whoa, how did you even get there? And then I started getting it. I started thinking, you know what?
Amen.
We don't have to go like this. It doesn't have to stay in there. There's so many other options, and there's a way to find the answer. And a lot of times it's not just one answer. You'll have a choice of answers and directions you can go in. But, pray first, of course. But always think outside the box. God does.
Right.
And Jim Ingersoll, who'll be here in a couple of weeks, and he
I'm
always
excited
says
about that. That's really good.
Jim's favorite saying is your network is your net worth is equal to your network.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't have a big enough network. There's always someone that knows more. Always.
Yeah. And Jim is a great example of someone who is always thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Two things about him. Well, there's several things about him. He's just one of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. But
huge go-giver.
He really is. So the two things is he always thinks outside the box, and he always is looking to see how he can help someone else succeed. He's always trying to do that. In everything that he does, he's always trying to see how he can help someone else succeed. And what it did is make everybody come up underneath him and lift him up. He's getting what he gives.
Yeah, this deal maker thing that we have here in Jackson, it came about because somebody planted a bug in his ear 2 years ago. He had the big deal maker event in Richmond. Said, you ought to franchise this thing. And now there's over 30.
I lead one, and
she has one. Mary Hart's launching one next week.
Yeah.
Jim's going to be there for that. There's over 30. This thing is a movement. The deal maker community,
Texas, Florida.
Yeah, it's a movement. It's a movement of doing real estate like it's supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Integrity, character, all those things that really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What other pearls of wisdom do you have for Mr. Daniel?
Yes, please. I need everything you got.
So the other thing I want everybody to understand is, first of all, you're not going to have just one person that you go to for a loan. Your goal should be to have 4 or 5 different hard money or private money lenders that you work with. What's the difference between hard money and private money? Really nothing. Hard money, it's usually a company that has a fund that they manage. They lend out much bigger money normally, not at the same time, but they just have more money to lend from because they have investors that allow them to lend their money. Private money investors are usually lending out their own money or just a few people that they know. And they don't always run it as their full-time business, but both are very similar. Both are well worth having in your tool belt. You need to be able to, because you might call me for a loan and it might be located in a place I don't do business in, or it might be the type of deal that I don't like to deal with, but there's another hard money lender that would be happy to do it. So just because you're being told no doesn't mean it's something you shouldn't be doing or that you don't qualify. On the other hand, if everybody you go to tells you no, there's probably an issue. And ask why. When someone tells you no, ask why. What can I do differently? Also, don't try to do this alone. What I mean by that is everybody is a sounding board or your board member that you can bounce ideas off of, that can help direct you, especially when you're thinking about what your exit strategy is. Because whenever I do a deal, I'm always making sure that I have at least 2 exit strategies. 3 would be better, but I always make sure that I have at least 2 exit strategies. If it's something I want to fix and flip up, and I can't get it sold, I want to make sure that I'm qualified to refinance out of it, hold it as a rental property, and it will cash flow. So you need to make sure that you have a backstop on stuff that you do. Same thing if you're trying to do it as a buy and hold, and for some reason it's not working out as a very good rental property. Is it something that you can sell and not lose money off of selling it too? So all of those things are really, really important. Make sure you know what your exit strategy is.
And let me add, she mentioned private money, and I will just tell you, private money lenders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know them. You have them in your life. They're people they're friends of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start on this journey, I would highly encourage you to document your projects on Facebook. They don't need to be professional, Daniel. You're very good. Just be real. Do short videos of, hey, I'm at this house. And I'm telling you, I'm a living testimony. We've raised a lot of money in the last 3 years just because of the things we put on Facebook. Not trying to, right? It wasn't our goal. Our goal was just to put projects out there, and lo and behold, people want to work with you. When they know you're genuine, they know you can execute, and they know that their money's going to be returned. Well, I think Jeff Shahusky or somebody told me the most important thing is not return on investment; it's return of capital. Right? Would you agree with that, Wendy?
Absolutely.
Getting your money back is more important sometimes than making a profit on the money, right?
Yeah, he'd be a great guest on your podcast too.
I'm going to work on Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff is fantastic. He's in Green Bay. He's another lender.
I love it.
See, we're all friends, all us lenders. Remember too, lenders are friends. And if you don't do what you say you're going to do, lenders talk.
I mean,
there you go.
That makes sense.
So you got to be careful on that end too, for sure. And don't discount banks either. There are a lot of local, small, regional banks that love working with new businesses. They want, and when I say new businesses, I mean local new businesses. They want to be able to invest in their own community. So don't discount them. When you call on a local bank, you should be going to their commercial department. That's who you need to ask for. Who does your commercial loans? Because even though this is a residence that you're doing, it's not really a residential loan. It's
right.
Commercial because it's business to business.
Yep. And I got some great contacts. We've used some locally here. So
I've got a question real quick. So Wendy, hypothetical situation, or maybe it's not hypothetical. So let's say there's someone like me that wants to get a loan from you. What are the things that someone like me would have to tell you to get excited about this deal and working with me? Are there any specifics, any language that somebody new should learn before they approach a lender? Are there, secret words or secret handshakes, or what really gets you fired up about the possibility of working with someone? And what do they need to bring to you in order for you to get fired up about it?
That's funny that you immediately made me think of the water buffalo handshake from Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. But I'm dating myself for sure. So the first thing that I ask someone when they call and say, "Hey, I need a loan for this house I'm getting ready to rehab and sell," my first question always, "Great, what's it going to be worth fixed up?" And if anybody says to me, "Well, I'm not sure," bing, red flag goes up. This person doesn't know what they're doing. They haven't done their homework. I immediately put up a wall. Like I know I got to ask a lot more questions if they don't even know that question. So know your numbers is the number one thing. Know how much it's going to cost to fix it up. Know what it's worth when it gets fixed up. Know what the rental would be on it long term. You need to know that. Even if your point is to turn around and sell it, because if you can't sell it, now you're going to have to rent it. So you need to understand that your second backup strategy is going to work too. What's it going to rent for? So those are the three things. What's it worth fixed up? How much is it going to cost to fix it up? And what will it rent for?
And I'll tell you a great tool, and I don't have an affiliate link. Maybe I should, but Rehab Valuator is outstanding software for putting these deals together. And you can send a report or a document very quickly to a lender like Wendy.
Yeah, you sent me a couple examples of that.
You've seen those, right? Wendy, you've seen those reports, those.
Oh, yeah.
And do you find those valuable? Does that cover everything you need to see?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Another thing too, when if someone does say, "Well, yeah, I do know the value. It's between 250 and 300." That's a wide gap.
Right.
What I want to hear is between 280 and 300. And then I'm going to run my numbers off of 280, not 300.
Okay.
When I'm judging it, I'm using worst case scenario numbers.
I love it. So
if they say, if I'll say, "Well, where are you getting that 280 to 300? Where are you getting those numbers?" "Well, I looked it up on Zillow." Not good. I want to hear, I have a real estate agent that I work with that ran comps for me, or I'm an agent and I pulled comps. That's what I want to hear. Especially if you're new. If you've been doing this for 20 years and you say, "I pulled comps myself," I'm cool with that. This is somebody who's experienced. But if you're brand new, you need to have some professional guidance.
Okay. All right. So real quick, we have some folks commenting. Thank you, Chuck, for commenting. We see. I read a post from Brian that read, "If your dreams don't scare you enough, they aren't big." And then he said, "Amen." And then he asked, "What are things to look for when choosing an appraiser?" Is a good question. And then buy the property for $100K. The after rehab appraisal is 200. You can borrow 150 potentially. And then he said, "I got to run." So before we respond to that, yes, anybody listening or watching this live stream, you can always post your comments and we'll read them on the show. So who wants to answer those questions or that question?
Well, Chuck is actually a friend.
Okay.
He's a childhood friend of my wife. And that comment that he made about if your dreams aren't big enough, they don't scare you, is from a book by Mark Batterson called Chase the Lion. I think he also references it in Win Today. A couple of really good books, but he's big on if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, right? Basically, expand your mind. No, there's no box, right?
Right.
We talk about out of the box. There's a guy we know, Bill Cook. He teaches a course called What Box, right? He also we have an appraiser that we use locally here. One of my guys that I've done a lot of DSCR loans with to cash out.
What is DSCR again?
Oh gosh, Wendy, help me with the acronym.
I knew you were gonna. It is the DSCR.
Debt service
Debt
coverage ratio.
service, yeah, debt
So
service
let me,
coverage ratio.
so here's the example.
Debt
You-
service coverage
ratio.
ratio.
So you have a house that rents for $1,100, and your PITI, your payment, your interest, your taxes, and insurance is $1,000. You have a 1.1 DSCR ratio. Most lenders, Wendy, what 1.1, 1.2,
1.2 is pretty safe,
yeah.
but
So
you want to try to have it at 1.1 if you can.
there you go. So basically, you
Okay.
can quickly do some math and go, okay, if it rents for $1,200 and I'm all in for $1,000, I'm probably safe. That's a 1.2 ratio, and it's all based on the deal.
Okay.
They're not looking at DTI.
Basically, they want to make sure that the income is going to cover the payment with taxes and insurance.
Yep, there you go.
It's pretty simple.
Now, Chuck's example there about the 150, so that's actually 75%.
Yeah, his
He's a little high. He's a little high.
Okay.
But
now you could, and so let's talk about that. So
Okay.
let's say that the house is 150. That's really what you're having to pay for it. And you know the after repair value is 200, but your goal is to turn it into a short-term rental property, right?
Yep.
So what that means is I'm going to lend you 140 for it, but you're going to have to bring an additional 10,000 to the table to make up for that, to make up for the 10 short on the 150. So it doesn't mean that it's bad or that it's wrong. If your exit strategy is to turn it into a short-term rental property, then or a midterm, then those numbers will still work without a problem.
Yep.
But you need to keep this in mind. That loan we just talked about, the DSCR loans, when you go to refinance, they're going to refinance at 75 to 80%. So what that means is when you refinance it, they're going to do their own appraisal because they're not going to accept the one you already have. So they're going to do their own appraisal. Let's say they're going to give you 75%. That means they're going to give you basically $150,000. That's going to pretty much cover your cost to refinance it.
Right. But you may still have some out-of-pocket costs to cover for the refinance, right?
Well, that's what if
cost.
you're in it at 140.
Oh,
that's right. So if you're in it at 150, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're in it at 150, you're bringing money to the table to close it. So you're going to try to get an 80%. But remember, the higher of the percentage on the refinance that you do, the more difficult it's going to be to meet that 1.1 or that 1.2 you're shooting for, because they're not going to refinance it based on your short-term or your midterm rent. They're going to refinance it based off of the market rent for long-term.
That's right. The only time I've had a couple lenders I'm working with right now. They're looking at one of my houses in Fondren, and because it's been a furnished rental for 3 years, I have a track record of at least 12 months or more, and they will use that rent in lieu of market traditional rent.
Okay, so that makes sense. So when do we have 12 minutes left? So what I want, we've kind of discussed, what you like to see as a lender. So you approve the loan, you give the money to the person as a hard money loan, I guess, is that
correct?
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, and that person has how long do you give them to pay that back?
So that's a great question. That's another reason why it's good to have.
And how do they pay that? What is the refinance or cash out refinance, or what how do I make sure that I get you paid?
I gotcha. So that's one of the reasons why it's good to have multiple lenders that can be your go-to lenders, because we all offer similar things, but some of them are different as well. Like we offer a 3-month, 6-month, and 9-month term. So you can, and the difference in the interest rate's the same on all three of those products. The difference are the points that you pay up front, that origination fee. So of course, for the 3-month, it's going to be a lot cheaper. For the 9-month, it's going to be more expensive. But what that does is it gets you that term to 9 months to be able, so you get 9 months to be able to pay it off. Now, With me, you're going to be making payments
Okay.
every month. That's why I want to make sure you have money in the bank. There are some companies out there that won't require you make any payment during that time. They want you to
Lump sum at the
pay it
end.
at the sale, at the payoff. That's not bad. If you're experienced, that's actually a great option. If you're not experienced, I would be very wary of that, because sometimes you don't realize those are gathering and getting more and more expensive. You've had things happen that you didn't expect. You, at the end, when it's time to pay it off, you may not have any money as a profit left over. So just be careful of that. I'd rather be paying as I go. But you just need to make sure you don't set yourself up for further problems down the road.
And to clarify, she's talking about interest only payments
That's correct.
on that
That's
money.
correct.
Okay. So you get, okay. I think I'm trying to understand all of this, and I'll get there. But right now,
You're drinking through a fire hose. We've all been there. We get it.
Okay, I've heard. So you get a hard money loan. You pay that you for the after the ARV after
repair value.
After repair value. Okay, so you get a hard money loan for that amount of money. We'll say it's hypothetically $150,000, right? The house, you bought it for $150,000. You're going to put $40,000 into it, so $190,000. Hypothetically, you get a loan for $190,000.
Well, let's go back to her example. $200,000 house, $100,000 purchase. Let's say it's $40,000, the rehab plus your cushion. So you're in it at 70%. Now go from there.
Okay. So you do the work. When the house is completely done with all the work, so do you, this is, I guess, where I'm kind of confused. Do you like go to a bank and refinance? Everybody talks about refinancing to get the money out or like.
No. So what's your goal? Is your goal to hold on to it as a rental, or is your goal to sell it?
Can you explain both? Like what both would mean?
Well, yeah. So you got to give me what you want to do. So if you
I want to hold it and rent it.
If you want to hold it and rent it, then you're going to refinance it with a DSCR loan. That's a long-term 30-year note.
30-year note, yep.
Fixed?
And that's it can be fixed.
It can be fixed.
Interest only. You can get some that just last 20 years. You can get some that are ARMs. They adjust with the interest rate. Just like any regular loan, they vary, but that's your long-term note. So most of them right now come with a 5-year prepay as well, which means if you want to sell it within 5 years, you're paying either 5% penalty if you sell it in the first year, 4% penalty if you sell it in the second year, 3% penalty if you sell it in the third year, and going on. And that penalty, the percentage is based on what the loan amount is.
So I'll give you a real live example. So we have a house, our Marblewood house. It's going to be a furnished rental. We're supposed to close, I think, today, right? So I have private money. 2 people gave me the money, right? They have a note, deed of trust securing the property. And we're going to cash them out, their principal and interest and points, right?
Pay them off.
With a DSCR loan. And that's a 30-year loan. I think my rate's going to be like 6.85 for 30 years.
Great deal.
And and we're going to pay them off. So I'm not going to a local bank. And I will tell you, most banks here do not do DSCR loans. They don't have that product. Not many do. We can talk a little bit more about but that's essentially what you're going to do if you're going to hold it. Obviously, if you're going to flip it, you're going to sell it. And when you go to closing, they're going to run title and they're going to go, oh, we got a lien against the property because you borrowed money from Wendy. So they're going to make sure Wendy gets paid back. And then whatever's left after closing costs will be yours.
So Wendy puts a loan on the property when she gives a loan?
So when you,
you
want to talk about that, Wendy, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a regular bank. I'm going to put a lien on it, just like any lender would. And I think one of the things that I failed to mention, and I think is really important, as an investor, you want to do business in your entity, whether it's an LLC or a land trust or whatever it is. You're going to be doing business in an entity. Most banks won't lend on an entity. They want to lend to a person. And so what they're doing when they're lending to a person is they are underwriting that based on what that person's income is. So a hard money, private money, or DSCR lender does not care what you, the borrower, make. They don't care what your income is. They're not doing any debt to income ratio on you. What they care about is the property. What's your credit score? What kind of income is the property going to make? And me as a hard money lender doing that short-term upfront loan, that's why I care that you have money in the bank, because I want to make sure you can make my payments. It has nothing to do with your job. I just want to make sure that you can make my payments. And I want you out of the loan quick, because I want to take that money and lend it to somebody else after you put your DSCR loan in place.
Or maybe you have another deal and you roll it into the next deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, we'd do a whole new loan, but
right.
Yeah.
Well, so Travis Ritchie, who was here in February, is a friend of mine. He's a lender. We've done deals together. And, the deal is important and the numbers have to work. But then the next thing, and she already talked about this, he said, I bet on the jockey, not the house. And you're the jockey. You're the person that's doing, and he made that statement in the meeting and it kind of resonated. And if you talk to most of the lenders like Wendy, the people matter, right? Who you're working with is huge. And she talked about that early on.
Yeah, I got confidence in myself. I don't have confidence in properties or things going right all the time. Okay.
Well, and they won't go right all the time. They won't.
They won't.
It's you, the operator, that figures out how to get out of it. How do I fix this broken thing?
And Wendy, would you also say that, and we've talked about this a little bit, you and I, one of the bigger issues in the industry is when people get in trouble, what do you do?
Bury your head in the sand.
Yeah. Don't go radio silent.
Yeah.
Don't stop answering your text. Don't become hard to find, right? Those are all bad signs.
Yeah,
it really is. And I can tell you, as a lender, there's all bad things happen to good people all the time.
That's right.
Divorce happens, they lose jobs, the deal doesn't turn out to be what they thought it would, the market drops, it doesn't sell. There's all kinds of things that could happen out there, all kinds of things. I want to know as far in advance as possible if you think you've got trouble brewing in the waters. If you're my borrower and you've got trouble brewing, call me, because I've been through this over and over again, and I might be able to help you out of it. My whole goal is to drag you across the finish line. I don't want your property. I don't want your property. I'm a lender. That's how I make my money. I want you to be successful and come back to me with your next deal. The worst thing anybody can do is go dark on me, not answer, not tell me what's going wrong, to just not respond to me. That's the worst thing a person can do. They're hiding, and there's no need for that. It's being a coward is what that is. I have actually foreclosed on somebody before. And the only reason we foreclosed is because he had debt behind us, so we had to wipe that out. He helped me through everything, single step of the way. He would call me constantly. What else can I do to help? Is there anything I can help you out with? Giving me all the information that I needed. And I don't even remember why we ended up having to foreclose on him, but it was really no fault of his own. Something happened. I think he got a divorce or something like that was going on, but he was very much on top of everything. I loaned to him again. After foreclosing on him, I loaned to him again within the next 12 months. And everything went great. Now, who can say that? They foreclosed on me and then lent me money again? That sounds insane. But that guy's character proved to be the kind of person I want to work with.
Right.
There you go.
Well, this has been absolutely fantastic. If I'm completely honest with everybody, I'm slightly less confident in my real estate abilities after this episode, but I know this, and I know where I'm at right now. This is my recommendation to everybody else. Do what I'm doing right now. learn, educate yourself, and surround yourself with somebody that's willing to work with you and to teach you. And for me, Brian is that person. And I'm incredibly grateful that God has kind of had us cross paths, because uh, I can't imagine making, at least in the next years, I can't imagine making any move in real estate without running it by you first, because I'm just not that smart. But I'm super grateful that God put you in my life. Now, before we go, Wendy, thank you so much. I'm going to put Wendy's logo up here. She is the owner, right? Owner of Carolina Capital. Is that correct?
Co-owner with my brother. Yes.
Okay. And how can someone get in touch with you if they want to set up a Wednesdays with Wendy, or talk to you about money at Carolina Capital? How can people get in touch with you?
So I'll give you two ways. My cell phone is 704-400-9481. Text me. And then that's 704-400-9481. And then you can also email me, Wendy at chmlending.net. chmlending.net. And I do a Wednesday with Wendy. It's a free 30-minute mentor session. I don't have anything to sell. I'd just like to help you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. And if you would, will you text me all of those links that you would like in the show notes, and I'll put those in there for us. Closing thoughts, Wendy.
Don't let money be what stops you from doing this.
Amen.
This is, it's a great opportunity.
Beautiful. Thank you. Brian, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. I thank my friend Wendy Sweet for honoring us by coming on our first podcast. We don't have a prize or anything for you, Wendy. We'll have to come up with something maybe. But anyway, I would just say keep on keeping on, and we got more to come and more to do. And this was a great start.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We will be here, rain, shine, sleet, hail, every single. Today is different because this is our first episode, but from here on out, starting next Friday, we are going to be here every single Friday at 9:30 a.m. So, yeah, I'm just so incredibly grateful for this opportunity. And I hope that that you guys have had an opportunity to learn as much as I can. And if you have any questions, if you want to, you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, not LinkedIn yet, but we'll get LinkedIn set up. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We are literally everywhere, and I'm going to be posting clips every single day, so you're going to see us. But I hope that you guys learn. So thank you so much for being here today. You guys are awesome. We love y'all, and we'll see you next Friday at 9:30 a.m.
The BrickFolio Podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. We are not attorneys, financial advisors, or tax professionals. Nothing in this podcast constitutes professional advice. Always consult licensed professionals before making investment decisions. By listening, you agree we are not responsible for any action you take. Stay smart and do your own due diligence.